Hello students, in today's video we're going to start with the topic financial planning. So let's just get started with it quickly. Financial planning. So the word itself we can understand. It is some sort of a planning. We have to go for a short picnic also, we do so much planning, right? And it is a planning of finance. Finance means money. The money that your parents must be earning every month, whether they are salaried or they are doing some business, the entire money that we earn, we don't spend it that month itself, right? After spending for our day-to-day needs, the money that we keep aside is called as investment. That investment we do for our future, for our education, for our health, etc. And this investment is done in various things. Some people like to invest in gold, some people like to invest in shares, some people like to invest in the bank. So various places this investment is done. So let's see more about it. Savings. What are savings? After spending on the necessities of the present, everyone tries to save money to make provisions for the future needs. That is what we call saving money. Investments. In order to protect our savings or even to make them grow, we keep them as fixed deposits or buy immovable properties such as house, land, etc. That is what we call investment. Financial planning. Every investor first spends the amount required to meet primary necessities and saves the remaining amount. One also uses these savings to make a careful considered investments. This is called financial planning. So let us start with the practice set now and try to solve the problems based on it. Here we are going to need the knowledge of percentage basically. So always remember, whenever we have this percentage, here we are having 90%. Percentage means out of 100. So 90% can also be written as 90 upon 100. Now let us read the question. Alka spends 90% of the money that she receives every month and saves rupees 120. How much money does she get monthly? So the question says, how much money does she get monthly? So basically her monthly salary we have to find. So something that we don't know, generally we assume it to be X. So here also her monthly earnings we will assume to be X. She spends 90%. Spends. This is what is given in the question, that she spends 90% of the money that she gets. And saves rupees 120. So she spends 90% means obviously she saves in terms of percentage. If we have to say, percentage means out of 100. So it is going to be 100 minus 90. That is, she saves only 10% of her salary or whatever money she gets. 10% of her salary, and her salary or whatever money she earns every month, we have assumed it to be X. So 10% of X she saves, and this 10% of X in the question it is given to be 120 because she saves rupees 120, right? So 10% of X is equal to 120. Now I told you this 10% we can write it as 10 upon 100. Times X. Now since we want to find X, we will keep X here only. This 10 upon 100 we can try it and take it that side. Things will get cancelled, solve it, and you get the value for X. That's it. Let's see. Let the total amount received by Alka each month be rupees X. Alka's expenditure is 90% of the total amount. Alka's savings 100 minus 90%, so that is 10% of the total amount. But she saves rupees 120 per month. So 10% of x is 120. Therefore 10 upon 100 into x is 120. And hence now we will solve. So the answer is 1200. So amount received by Alka each month is rupees 1200. Let us continue with the second sum now. Sumit borrowed a capital of rupees 50,000 to start with his food products business. In the first year, he suffered a loss of 20%. He invested the remaining capital in a new sweets business and made a profit of 5%. How much was his profit or loss computed on his original capital? Now, earlier problem there was a salaried person probably. Here we have a businessman. Now, for any business, you need to have some capital. Capital means some money in hand first of all, which you will invest in that business. Invest and means you will start business with that money. So he has a capital of rupees 50,000. And with this money, he started a business of food products. Now, in the first year, he suffered a loss. And this loss, always loss and profit, it is given in terms of percentage. So his loss was 20%. So this loss will be calculated on his capital, which is of 50,000. So on 50,000, he suffered a loss of 20%. 20% means we will write 20 upon 100. So how much is his loss actually in terms of money? If we go to C, we calculate. The 2 zeros go, these 2 zeros will go. 5 2s are 10 and 1, 2 and 3. 1, 2 and 3. So his loss, if we see here in the first year, is of rupees 10,000. His loss is of rupees 10,000. So after he has lost rupees 10,000, in the second year the money remained with him. He started off with 50,000. In the first year he lost 10,000. So money remained with him for the further business now is only rupees 40,000. He invested the remaining capital, that is this 40,000. He invested the remaining capital in new sweets business. Now he started a sweets business and this time he made a profit, but the profit was only 5% compared to the loss. Loss was 20%. Profit what he got was only 5%. Let's see how much is that 5%. So on this 40,000 now he got a profit of 5%. That is 5 upon 100. 2 zeros will go. These 2 zeros will go. 5 4s are 20. And the 2 zeros. So that's 2,000. 5 4s are 20 and the 2 zeros. So that's 2,000. So his profit was rupees 2,000. How much was his profit or loss computed on his original capital? That we have to calculate now. Now see what have we come to. He started off with 50,000. In the first year lost 10,000. 40,000 remained with him. With this 40,000 he did business of sweets and over there he got a profit of rupees 2,000. So now the money with him is 40,000 plus 2,000 is total 42,000. So after 2 years the money remained with him is 42,000. So we are asked to find out after 2 years whether he had a loss or a profit. So obviously he had a loss because he started with 50,000 and ended up in 42,000. So loss of rupees 8,000. 50,000 minus 42,000. So that is loss of rupees 80,000 that he incurred. Now this loss we have to only calculate in the form of percentage. That's it. So let's see how we do it. Total capital 50,000. Loss at the end of first year is 20%. So 20% of rupees 50,000 was lost. So now 20 upon 100 into 50,000. So that's rupees 10,000. Loss in the first year is rupees 10,000. Remaining capital now is rupees 40,000. Profit at the end of second year is 5% of 40,000, that is rupees 2,000. It is by mistakenly typed 20,000, but this is not 20,000, it is 2,000 only. So his capital becomes 40,000 plus 2,000, that is 42,000. Now total capital invested was 50,000 and total capital at the end of second year in his hand was 42,000. So obviously there was a loss, and the loss was 50,000 minus 42,000, that is rupees 8,000. Now this rupees 8,000 is a loss on 50,000. So we have to compute the loss in percentage, in terms of percentage. That is on 50,000 we have to calculate the loss percent. On 50,000 there was a loss of 8,000. So on 100 how much? The two zeros go, the two zeros go. Here also. So it is 16%. The loss was 16% after second year. So loss percent is 16. Sumit incurred 16% loss on the original capital. This is the final answer we have to write. Let us move on to the third problem. Nikhil spent 5% of his monthly income on his children's education, invested 14% in shares, deposited 3% in a bank, and used 40% for his daily expenses. He was left with a balance of rupees 19,000. What was his income that month? This is somewhat similar to the previous sum. The first sum that we did. His monthly income, we assume it to be X. Okay. Then we calculate his total expenditure. His total expenditure, see how much? 5%, 14%, plus 3%, plus 40%. Together it comes out to be 62%. So his total expenditure and investments are 62%. So amount left with Nikhil after expenditure and investments is 100 minus 62, that is 38%. But rupees 19,000 left with Nikhil after expenditure and investment. So equate that with 19,000. 38% of X is rupees 19,000. Therefore 38 upon 100 into X. Now this I have written big so that there shouldn't be a confusion between multiplication and X. So 38 upon 100 times of X is 19,000. So we just solve and we get the answer 50,000. So Nikhil's monthly salary is 50,000. Let us proceed to the next sum. Mr. Syed kept rupees 40,000 in a bank at 8% compound interest for 2 years, and Mr. Fernandez invested rupees 1,20,000 in a mutual fund for 2 years. Mr. Fernandez got rupees 1,92,000, whose investment turned out to be more profitable. Now here there are two people, Mr. Syed and Mr. Fernandez. Both have done some investment. This person has invested in a bank and this person has invested in a mutual fund. Now, if you remember any of the mutual fund ads which come on TV, in the end they say something very fast, and that is mutual fund investments are subjected to market risk, invest carefully. Okay, so the money that we put in mutual fund, it goes in the share market finally, and then there is a risk. Here your money may be increased 10 times, 20 times, 30 times also sometimes. But if the market crashes, your money may decrease also. So there is a risk. So we have to invest carefully. And some people are ready to take this risk, like Mr. Fernandez. So he has invested in the mutual fund. But somebody like Mr. Syed wants to play safe. They don't want to take risk. Then they invest their money in the bank. Because in a bank, 8% compound interest. So that much 8% compound interest for sure you are going to get. No matter what happens, after 2 years, this 8% increase. So you know for sure your money is going to increase. Your money is not going to decrease when kept in a bank. Now here principal or the amount both of them invested is different. He has invested less 40,000 and this person has invested more 1,20,000. So even if we get the amount, how much amount each of them got. Now in case of Mr. Syed, we have to find out how much interest he got on rupees 40,000 after 2 years. So that interest which he got will be his profit. Whereas this person's profit we can directly see. 1,20,000 he invested and he got 1,92,000. So 1,92,000 he got after 2 years and he had invested only 1,20,000. So his profit directly we can see here. It is obviously a profit. 72,000 is his direct profit after 2 years. 72,000 he has got as a profit. But we will calculate both the profits in terms of percentage. Then only we will understand whose investment turned out to be more profitable. So let's see how we do it. Now Mr. Syed's part will be little bigger. Mr. Syed, we have to use the formula for compound interest, etc. and solve it. So we know the amount that we put in the bank, it is called as a principal. It will be denoted by the letter P. Rate of interest R, that is 8%. And the period, it is for 2 years. So that will be denoted by the letter N. Now compound interest formula. We know compound interest is amount minus the principal. Formula for compound interest is amount minus the principal, and amount formula we know it is P in the bracket 1 plus R upon 100 raised to N. So we use this formula and we solve it. In place of A, I will be putting this formula now, P into 1 plus R upon 100 raised to N. And in place of P, I will be putting P. Now take this P common. When you take the P common, in the bracket here, what is left is 1 plus R upon 100 raised to N minus 1. Now, what we are going to do? Just substitution. In place of P, I'll be putting 40,000. In place of R, I'll be putting 8. And in place of N, I'll be putting 2. So here in the formula, I just have to substitute. That's it. This was the formula for compound interest. So we just substitute. After substitution, we get this. Now we will just cross multiply here. 100 ones are 100. 100 plus 1, 108. So that's 108 upon 100 we will get. Now divide by 100. Shift the decimal point by 2 places. So that will become 1.08. So that's 1.08 square. Now instead of sitting down and calculating what is 1.08 multiplied by 1.08, this way also you will get the correct answer. But we choose to use the easier method. We use the formula A square minus B square is equal to A plus B in one bracket and A minus B in other bracket. This formula you have learned since 7th standard, if you remember. Now this is also like a square minus b square. This is a square. 1 square is 1. So this also we can treat as 1 square. So a square minus b square. So this we will be writing a plus b and a minus b, like this part, a square minus b square, it is written as a plus b, a minus b, and this 40,000 as it is. Now 1.08 plus 1 will be 2.08 into, this is going to be 1 minus 1 0, so that's 0.08. Okay, so we get, now how do we multiply this? 2.08 into 0.08. Just forget that there are decimal points first and just multiply with plain 8. 8 is a 64. 6 carry. 8 zeros are 0. This 6 we write here. 8 twos are 16. Now give the decimal point 1, 2, 3, 4. After 4 places. 1, 2, 3, 4. Decimal point here. So that's 0.1664. So next we get 0.1664 into this 40,000 which was there. Now multiply this with 40,000. Okay, now just forget the decimal point and forget the zeros. First multiply by 4. 4 fours are 16. 6 fours are 24 and 125. 6 fours are 24 and 2, 26. 4 ones are 4 and 2, 6. Now you will see here, there are 4 zeros here. So I should be giving 4 zeros on this. 1, 2, 3 and 4. And also the decimal point is there after 4 places. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I should be shifting the decimal point here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So decimal point comes here. So the answer that remains finally is 6656. Okay, so here we get compound interest as 6656. So this compound interest which we got is the profit of Mr. Sayyed. Now this profit he got on the amount 40,000. So on 40,000 he got the profit 6656. So on 100 how much? You cancel the two zeros and try to divide by 4 etc. And after division we get the answer 16.64%. So his profit, Mr. Sayyed's profit is rupees, not rupees, 16.64% in terms of percentage. And now with Mr. Fernandez we will see Mr. Sayyed earned 16.64% profit on his investment in the bank. Now Mr. Fernandez, we got this. We have already seen 72,000, right? Amount invested in mutual fund was 1,20,000. Amount received after 2 years was 1,92,000. So therefore the profit earned was rupees 72,000, and therefore percentage of profit is, how do we get it? Just cancel the zeros. There are 4 zeros actually. Here one less is there. See, we'll do it again. That's not 12,000. This is 1,20,000. This is 1,20,000. Okay, and this is 1,92,000. So these two zeros and these two zeros will get cancelled, and then these two zeros and these two zeros will get cancelled. 12 ones are 12, 12 6 are 72, and the 10 which was here. So that's 60%. Mr. Fernandez earned 60% profit on his investments in mutual funds, and therefore obviously how much was Mr. Sayyad's? 16.64%. His profit was 16.64%, and Mr. Fernandez's profit was 60%. So obviously Mr. Fernandez's profit was more, right? So investment made by Mr. Fernandez is more profitable. Just remember there's one more zero here. It is 1,20,000, not 12,000. So let us start with the last sum. Samira spent 90% of her income and donated 3% for social useful causes. If she is left with rupees 1,750 at the end of the month, what was her actual income? Okay, so this is same like the first problem, and in the middle one, Nikhil's problem that we did. We don't know what is her income, we assume her income to be X. And the money that she spends, 90% and then 3% donated. So total she spends 93% is spent. Okay, now after that she is left with the money 1750. Now here 93% is spent. So how much is left with her? 7% of the salary, that is 7% of X. 100 minus 93 is 7, right? So 7% of the salary is left. So 7% of X is 1750. Now percentage means out of 100. So that is 7 upon 100 into X. Alright. So then this 7 upon 100 will go that side, and we will try to calculate. Let's see how we do it. Let Samira's monthly income be rupees X. Total monthly expenditure and donations 93%. Amount left with Samira is 100 minus 93%, that is 7%. But amount left with Samira is given to be 1750. Therefore 7% of X is 1750. That is 7 upon 100 into X is 1750. Now this will go that side, it will become 100 upon 7. So that becomes 100 upon 7, which is 25,000 after dividing we get. So Samira's monthly income is rupees 25,000. Please do this calculation and you will get the answer 25,000. Hope so it was clear to you, students. Thank you so much.